So, let's move to the last speaker, and it's very challenging for our last speaker to draw your attention, because the last speaker always has this challenge. So, very sorry for that, but I'm sure his interesting presentation will do it for him. So. He is Vicente González, coming from Red Eléctrica de España, and he will talk about best paths, large-scale demonstration purchase of HDBaseT multi-terminal technology.
Okay, in the meantime we change the slides. First of all, I would like to thank the Polytechnic University of Catalonia for giving us the opportunity to share this time with all of you. I'm aware that probably our colleagues here coming from abroad are thinking how deep could be the crisis in Spain, that we have passed the lunch time 2 hours ago and nobody seems concerned about that. That means I'll try to go fast through my slides, but I would like to share with you two personal ideas I had when I come back to the university 30 years later than when I spent many times here. Not here, but in other very similar. Well, I don't feel 30 years younger than yesterday, but I remember that when I was in the school, I'm engineer in industrial organizing, and by those time, I don't know what's the situation today, we were seen by our colleagues in the school that in fact, if you are not a power engineer, if you are not a mechanical engineer, if you are not an electric engineer, you are not a real engineer. And today I feel a little bit in the same situation when you explain so technical details about the HVDC technology. And my other personal feeling is that when we talk about the supergrid, and also when we talk about the smart grids, we continuously talking about millions, billions, and thousands of billions of euros we will save in the future. And things seems are not moving. What's happening? If everything depends on me, probably the explanation was too easy. This guy is absolutely stupid and is not doing what he should do. But so many people could be making a huge mistake at the same time. I have some doubts at least. And my feeling is, first of all, if we would like to go really through a non-carbon electricity sector, we must pay for it. I'm not so sure that the implementation of smart grids and the demand response could, at the end of the day, pay less money for the same amount of electricity. I have the feeling that we should be, first of all, ready to pay for this, I understand, very important objective. And second, well, today everything bad in the society is due to the politicians. Well, I can share this opinion. But at the end of the day, if we think in the not in my backyard attitude, it's basically the same, not in my municipality, not in my region, and not in my country. The real problem, I think, is that society is not actually committed with the long-term objective. And after telling this, I don't know if I can. Which one?
Sorry, this is.
Okay. Well, I will talk about a project started 2 months ago. That means I cannot offer you extraordinary results. I will talk about the work we will perform in the coming months, in the next year, 4 years. I'll start with a brief introduction of the basic data of this project, short description of the different demonstrations involved, and I finalize with a summary of my introduction, the one slide trying to emphasize the reasons why we do believe Best Path project could be interesting for all of you. Well, the challenge is well known for everybody, and if we would like to really have a CO2-free power system, we need to do different things. And one of the things, not all, is to allow the development of the wind generation, whatever they are. Of course, we are TSOs, and we cannot develop wind farms, but we must be sure that the grid is not an obstacle for the wind farms development. And our goal for this project is to be sure that we are ready to remove some of the barriers, the ones that we could affect in the short term for the development of the future supergrid. We intend to finish the project by the end of 2018. That means we would like to remove barriers that can obstacle this development in the following years, perhaps to 2020 to 2025. We are not designing the grid for 2050, but we would like to make some steps in order to advance in the evolution of the existing grid. And how we intend to do this? Well, we are working in 5 large-scale, not real full size, but large-scale demonstration projects. We are addressing issues at the DC grid level, but also in the AC grid. We are addressing issues offshore and onshore, but because at the end of the day, we need to put the power produced, whatever it is produced, in the places where the end user need it. But we are running these 5 projects, but also we need to be sure that the results of the project could be applicable for the whole Europe, or till what extent there could be applicable for the whole Europe. And then we need, we have 2 replication activities focused on the replicability and scalability of this, the demo project results. And we have we intend to do a large effort in dissemination activities. Well, we are talking about 39 partners consortium covering from, sorry, this one, from a large part of Europe. Perhaps we would like to have some larger involvement on Eastern countries, but we are covering 3 different synchronous areas: continental Europe, UK, and Nordic countries. There are 8 TSOs from France, Spain, 1 in Germany, Italy, Denmark, and Norway, I think. Industrial worldwide leaders in HVDC technology, like Siemens, Alstom, Toshiba T&D, and ABB. Also, I can mention Enertron from the Gamesa Group. Same worldwide leaders in cable technologies like Nexans, reference research centers in Europe like Sintef, Tecnalia, or RSC in Italy, and different institutions from the academia. We intend to invest almost 63 million euros in the next 4 years, and fortunately we expect to receive more than 35 from the Commission side in order to support these activities. These figures give the project as the largest one in the frame of European framework programs in the last probably 20 years, and of course limited to the grid-related activities. And it's also a challenge to manage such a large consortium and the amount of work that should be mobilized in order to accomplish with the objectives and the budget. The 5 demos, as mentioned before, cover from the interaction between converters within the offshore farms and the converters in the offshore grids. This demo is led by a worldwide leader in wind generation, Iberdrola. This, even the color has changed, should be considered also as offshore arena. This demo too is focused on interoperability. We have heard this morning several times about the need of making compatible the BSC stations provided by different vendors. Demo 3, if I am able to find the pointer. Okay. Well, demo 3 is focused on the process of refurbishment and upgrading an existing multi-terminal DC link in Italy, the interconnection between Sardinia, Corsia, and continental Italy. Of course, the main I'm looking for the word in English, is not a constraint. The conditioning, the main issue conditioning the development of the future grid could be the existing grid. And this is applicable for demo 3 in terms of offshore grids, and demo 4 when we move from onshore to onshore and design strategies for upgrading existing AC grid. And finally, Demo 5, who is focused to develop solutions to feed highly population areas with a large amount of energy based in new superconducting materials. The project structures follows in some way the demos mentioned before. Here we have the 5 demos. 3 of them focus on the offshore grid, and the other 2 link to the onshore grid. We have 2 horizontal work packages that we consider quite relevant, as they provide significant added value to the project, because we will perform impact assessment studies for the whole demos itself, but also for the combined impact of the different demo results. And in order to perform a fair evaluation assessment in the first stage of the project, we will define the project objectives, the KPIs, and the methodologies to apply during this results impact assessment. The objective of this work package is to be sure that at the end of the project we are not manipulating the results in order to have a more promising final results for the whole Europe. And of course, the project management, it's a relevant issue, and one thing we used to forget, at least in many projects, is the dissemination activities. This is not a work for the consortium members. This is a work for all the society and mainly for the relevant stakeholders. We would like to ensure the visibility within ENTSO-E, but also with all relevant stakeholders like Acer, T&D Europe, and all the relevant actors. Moving to the demo descriptions, very short, as mentioned before. Demo 1 is led by Iberdrola, involve the assessment of the interaction, technical interaction between HVDC technology within the farm and in the offshore grid. We intend to work on a laboratory level, but designing realistic mock-up of the different elements in the grid in order to simulate or assess the behavior of as close as the real equipment will do in the coming years, and the demo will finalize with a specific in-depth study of the impact of these demo results in the integration of East Anglia wind development in the UK system. East Anglia will be a wind hub around 45 kilometers far from the east coast of England, and after the third release will reach power capacity in the range of 7 gigawatts, 7.2 gigawatts, something like that. Demo 2 is led by RTE, the French TSOs, and it's focused on multi-vendor interoperability. What we do intend here, we are not working here with models of limited scale. We intend to work with a real replica of the control system used by these three technology providers, and find the way to operate in a message work, in a multi-terminal grid, having in mind in different tests, each manufacturer could be able to be the master control system or a slave control system. We need to develop probably an additional layout in order to not enter in the details of the existing controls applied by the different vendors, as they consider they have some competition advantage linked to this own designs, but to be able to ensure fluent communication and proper work between the three of them. Next one is Demo 3, is focus on the refurbishment of the SACOI link. It has a part link with the BSC converter, but it covers also all the relevant issues in the message link, in the multi-terminal link, conductors, high temperature, low sag conductors, both for DC connections, submarine cables, have also land cables, and different insulations options. Here we have the structure of the SACOI link with 3 terminals. This is not symmetric 3 terminals, because the one in Corsia is much smaller than the other 2. And we have 3 overhead line sections, 4 underground cable sections, and 2 submarine cable sections. All the different issues will be assessed by this demo in order to define the optimal strategies for upgrading this and other existing links in the future. Demo 4 is probably the less connected with the topics discussed today. It's linked with AC transmission grid upgrading, and it covers from high temperature, low sag conductors application to insulated cross arms, new way of works in order to replace conductors and final part connected with dynamic line rating. It's led by 50 Hertz, one of the German TSOs. And the last one is again in HVDC technology. Is for the development of a laboratory scale cable plus all the terminal to link with the existing grid in order cable based on magnesium diboride superconducting material. This material is first of all quite simple in comparison with the existing high temperature superconducting material. It's formed by cheaper elements, and it has mechanical properties that facilitates the development of long length future conductors. The scope of this demo is limited to a 20 meters cable, but 3.2 gigawatts capacity, and it should be tested, of course, in the laboratory. And I think the time has gone. Only to summarize the key characteristics of this project. First of all, the project approach. We intend to cover different issues in the whole supply chain, from the generation to the end user or to the distribution area. We are focused in the next steps of the technology development. We are not addressing issues like the DC circuit breaker, that for sure could be necessary in the future, but we understand it's something that is not mandatory for the first development of this multi-terminal grid. Of course, as mentioned before, we are involved in the largest project ever supported by the FP7, and due to this project size, we need to combine a strong management structure with minimizing the interference between the individual demo projects and ensuring a fair impact assessment for the project results. And that's all from my side today. If you have some questions.
Thank you very much. So we have time for a quick question. I have a question regarding, because I understand that this project is much about what we talked, what Rodrigo said, that it's the main challenge is the integration of all different systems, how we can work this together for Europe. And is this project also working out a little bit, because some of the integration, as also Marta said, that it's also related with the regulatory issues. Do you treat something also that how one is the thing, it's technical working together, and the other is it's all the institutions are working together, and Europe is working together?
Yeah, of course, in Work Package 13, when we perform the the project result assessment, we need to identify also the technical and not technical barrier for a smooth implementation of the project results. Non-technical barriers will be basically regulatory barriers. But we would like to highlight is that we are not addressing the design of new regulation from the beginning of the project, because our philosophy in some way is to see the economic impact of the project and to start to think in the regulatory measures that better translate this economic impact to the society. Not start with the regulation that could better maximize the results of the wind farm owners or the TSOs or any individual actor. This is forget the existing regulation today. What is the result in pure economical assessment? And now what regulation we need to share in a fairly way these benefits.
Okay, thank you. This reasonable approach. So, any more questions? No? Okay, thank you.